the day today. I'm a member of the Woodlands Chamber of Commerce. I'm a member of a subcommittee of that, which is called the Cherish Committee. And our job on the Cherish Committee is to interface with all the nonprofits who are members of our chamber. And we have a lot of them. And once a year, we put on an event called the Volunteer Appreciation Luncheon. So we send out invites to each of the nonprofits who are members of our chamber, and we invite them to send 2 people. And some organizations send the 2 people, others actually send more and they buy extra tickets. And today we had, I don't know how many people were there, but I'd say this, it was a lot. You know, I volunteer, so I help on the Volunteer Appreciation Day. Today I volunteered to do 2 things. One was to dish out the food at lunchtime. It was like a self-serve deal in a way, but there were 2 places where they could go and get food, and we actually put food on their plates. The other one was to clean up afterwards. And it just struck me when I was cleaning up afterwards that there was so much waste there, and there was so much plastic and paper that was just being thrown in the garbage. And I don't have the power and the influence to do anything about it, but what I can do is minimize it to the best I can. So somebody, or on a couple of tables, they actually got a whole bunch of napkins, paper napkins, which are about this thick, and just left them there. So I surreptitiously went up and I took them and I stuffed them in my pocket and I brought them home. We're going to use them again. It's not a major effort towards helping the climate, but it is a bit. And I'm also going to figure out how I can actually go and persuade our Chamber of Commerce to start being more conscious about recycling, because our community here has got a very good recycling program. In our case, every Thursday, it's different depending where you live in our community, which day of the week it is. And Thursdays, they come around and they collect 3 things. Oh, no, 4 things, actually. They collect yard waste, which gets recycled. They collect recycled stuff, you know, some plastics, paper, all that kind of stuff. And then they collect the normal garbage. And also they'll collect big items if you call them in advance, and they'll come and collect big items. For instance, our neighbor had a huge kitchen stove that had to be replaced because they had water issues in there, and the whole kitchen had to be replaced. So they come and pick that up, which is doing its bit. But the diversity that was there, apart from that, that was my bit towards helping at least keep some of the stuff out of the landfill. But the diversity there was twofold. It was the different organizations and what they do to support the community. Everything from protecting women who need protecting to the food bank, and the food bank director was the main speaker, who dish out food to other people, to others who help prevent human trafficking and go after people who actually are human traffickers. So, and everything, lots and lots of other stuff out there. You know, my part of it is the fact that I'm a member of the Dispute Resolution Center, and we provide either low cost or no cost mediation services for everything from disputes with neighbors to divorce, to amendments, to divorce proceedings, to child protective services. That's kind of our part. And the people there were from all different walks of life. So there was a lot of diversity in there, different color skins, different accents, different people from different parts of the world, but all joined together because they got one thing in common, and that is supporting nonprofits, helping people who need help. So anyway, that's a practical thing. David Goldberg, you know, he's been doing the whole freaking month on the environment, and as I mentioned earlier, I think that's too much. I do think the environment's incredibly important, but I wish he would use real stories in there, you know, which is why I told you this story today about what I'd spent most of my day doing. And this is not the T-shirt that I got there. Actually, there's another one. But anyway, So anyway, here is his offering, and I'll let you be the judge of what you think of it. It's valid. Don't get me wrong, it's valid. The beauty of biodiversity. Biodiversity is the greatest treasure we have. Its diminishment is to be prevented at all costs, and that was Thomas Eisner. Did not look up Thomas Eisner. Ernest Holmes takes a broader view. He says, all life is bound together by invisible cords of divine connection. And that's from this, that's from the Science of Mind textbook, and it's on page 49. And eventually my mouse will decide that it's going to cooperate. And there it is, it's cooperating. This is David Goldberg. Biodiversity sustains life on Earth, offering resilience, beauty, and balance to ecosystems. From the Amazon rainforest to the coral reefs, each habitat supports species large or small that play vital roles in maintaining Earth's harmony. Yeah, and it's funny. In addition to going to the gym today, I walked with our neighbor early this morning. We walked we're out there about 7 o'clock. And she happened to mention that she had actually found out in the last 24 hours how important mushrooms were to the whole ecosystem. I had never considered that before. It's just another example of we humans, we don't know when we start meddling with the environment what we're doing. Sometimes we do, but often we don't. David Goldberg is on to say, yeah, habitat destruction, pollution, and climate change threaten this diversity. It's true. It's true. But what I wish he would do is focus more and give us real stories about how people are protecting the environment. He gives us some examples, like Conservation International and the World Wildlife Fund work to protect endangered species and preserve biodiversity hotspots. David, please give us some examples and give us a story out of them. As one of the world's leading conservation organizations, the World Wildlife Fund works in nearly 100 countries, collaborating with local and indigenous peoples to develop and deliver innovative solutions that protect communities, wildlife, and the places in which they coexist. Excuse me, I am yawning and I'm making no excuse for it. These and like organizations operate with a common set of principles: courage, demonstrated through actions; integrity, shown by living the principles we're called to meet; respect, demonstrated by honoring the voices and knowledge of the people served; and collaboration, delivered through collective and action and innovation. Their efforts remind us that every creature, every plant, and the whole ecosystem is sacred and interconnected. Supporting their initiatives, whether through donations, education, or policy advocacy, fosters global preservation. And I get that's a call for us to do that. Today, reflect on the beauty of biodiversity. Notice the animals, plants, and natural systems around you. How can you protect and honor this interconnected web of life? And I am yawning again. So, my message to all of us is really simple. It's this: let's just be aware that we all need to do something to help with the environment, and let's be diligent about, as I mentioned the other day, just as simple as recycling stuff. If it can be recycled, please recycle it. It's not a big deal. And also, if you're so inclined, join organizations that support the climate, join organizations that support people. People are part of the ecosystem. So all the ones that I met today who are supporting people in lots of different ways, they're supporting part of the ecosystem. Why? Because human beings are part of the ecosystem. I just wish they'd do it in a more reasonable way and protect the environment. So eventually the message will get across and people will do that. So know with me, and this is my prayer, know with me that as we humans continue to exist on this earth, that we actually put into practice. I know that all humans eventually will come to realize the importance of preserving the ecosystem. And I know and I see human beings en masse working to protect the ecosystem. And I claim that this is truth. And I release this word with gratitude into the divine law that always says yes, and so it is. And that is my prayer for supporting the environment. Reverend Lisa will be here tomorrow. She will be on Creative Life Spiritual Center's Facebook page live about 9:15 tomorrow. I will be back tomorrow evening at about 5 o'clock. Daniel Mercadal should have been on today at 11:15. That's on Creative Life Spiritual Center's Facebook page. Mine is wherever you find it. It's on a bunch. My own, Creative Lives, as I mentioned, a bunch of other ones. So I appreciate the privilege of bringing these messages to you. I will try and bring stories that support what people are saying. And if the authors like David Goldberg don't give us some real life stories, I'll see in future what I can do to search for and find a real life story that is really interesting. You know, the news, a lot of it's negative stuff, but I'll give them their due in one thing. They usually end with something positive, like CBS Sunday Morning will always end with a nature thing. And others, mainstream news, they bring in articles which, uplift you as well. So until next time, namaste.